Right now, we're going to write a program to move this virtual robot up to the wall, or at least within 50 millimeters of the wall, and then have it return. And we're going to use a while loop to do this. So let's first start off by putting a while loop into our program. Now, this while loop has to be indented like it is. It can't be lined up with the defined main program expression. All right, so what do we want to do? What do we want this robot to do? Well, when this while loop is running, we want the robot to move forward. Now again, if we want this command, this drivetrain forward command, to be in the while loop, it has to be indented the same amount as the other expression in the while loop. All of them have to have the same indentation in Python to be in the while loop. Now, why don't we grab a command like this and move in increments of 200, for instance? Well, the reason is let's say the robot was right about here, just about to touch the wall, and the while loop runs again. The robot will be asked to run or move forward 200 more millimeters. But if there's not 200 more millimeters of space, it's going to run into the wall. So generally in situations like this, we want the robot to move only incrementally forward, not in big chunks like this. So let's get rid of that. All right, so what should we put here for an expression? Let's get rid of the word expression and let's put in a real one. For instance, the robot, can sense the distance it is from another object. So that's this command right here. So why don't we put this ability to sense, this command distance.getDistance in millimeters into our while loop. Well, we now need to compare that measurement that the robot makes, the distance to another object, with something. So what condition would we want to be true when the robot is driving forward? Well, we want the robot to be driving forward when the distance to the wall is great. Let's say we want it greater than 50 millimeters. So again, while the distance to another object is greater than 50, the robot will move forward. Please get in the practice of putting parentheses around the condition or expression, and then of course it needs to end in a colon. All right, what might we want it to do after it's reached 50 millimeters and the distance is equal to 50 millimeters and this condition fails and the while loop stops? What do we want the robot to do? Maybe stop. Now, again, it can't be indented or lined up with the defined main statement, and it cannot be indented as much as these while loop commands because then it will be in the while loop. So we want this to happen, the robot to stop after the while loop is done. All right, so that's wonderful. The robot will move up to here and stop, but we want it to go up and back. So we're going to add another while loop right here, and we're going to put one while loop in the other. So let's add a while loop here. Okay, and then we're going to indent this while loop so that this while loop is in the bigger while loop. That means these need to be indented because these commands are in this while loop. So see, they're indented in respect to this. These, the wait and this while, are indented with respect to this. Okay, again, we need an expression. And this condition or expression here will determine that it goes back and forth. So what would that be? Well, if we want to just go back and forth, we could use the expression while 1 is equal to 1. You'll notice that there are two equal signs. It's not like an equal in a normal algebraic equation. Equal equal is a comparison. We're comparing this side, the left side, to the right side. Well, since 1 is always equal to 1, this while loop will run forever and it will never stop. So if we do want it to stop, we would have to have this drivetrain.stop command at the same level of this while. All of these are indented the same amount. All of them are in this big while loop. So now the robot should stop when it gets to there before it repeats the direction. But we don't want it to only stop because then it would just continue to go forward again. We want it to turn around after it's stopped. So let's add a line there. Have it turn around. And This command is set up to do that, but we're going to change the 90 degrees to 180 degrees. And again, this is indented the same amount so that it is in this big while loop. The same indentation as the wait and the while command. All right, let's test it. So after a slight delay, the robot moves forward. This while loop is still true, but now it fails. So now the robot stops, turns around, and comes back. Again, this is still true until, oh, now it fails. This while loop stops, and these two commands get repeated. Thank you for listening.